Hello, successful people, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. So today I have 7 useful tips for you if you are a fashion instructor. Yes, 7 useful tips that can help you become better as a fashion instructor. So without wasting much of our time, let's get right into it. So the number one tip I have for you is be approachable. Yes, be approachable. So you as a fashion instructor, you have students around you who would always believe that they would always get answers from you. But then, as humans, it's normal human relations. I am drawn to speak with someone who gives me attention, someone who even looks at me. Like I want to read your facial expression to be sure. It might be that you hate the person inside. It's not good to hate, but it might be that you hate the person inside, but your outside expression tells the person that you are loved. I'm willing to give you my time. I'm willing to open up to you. I'm willing to listen to you. So that's just really how to be approachable. Not like you're going ahead and because you are the instructor, you are frowning your face like, okay, once I teach you, nobody should come near me. Don't ask me questions. Don't tell me what you're experiencing. You need to be approachable. That already, you being approachable gives an atmosphere, a good atmosphere for learning and understanding, and for students to pour out their mind. So the moment they see that, oh, we have an instructor that is approachable, we can speak to her when we don't understand some things. There are some people who are timid to ask questions in class. As much as you want to make sure that the environment is conducive for everyone, you will still have students who would not ask questions in the class. They will probably ask you, call you on phone to ask you or send you a message or tell you that they want to see you after the class. So please be approachable so that at least at the end of the day you can. I always tell people in our fashion instructors community that your report card is your students. So what you do, look at your students to grade yourself. Okay, so let's move to the next point. The next point I have is get inspired. Get inspired. So as fashion instructors, you are being seen as a model. You are meant to be someone who is flowing with ideas. So a student comes to you and like, oh, I have this ankara, I have this crepe fabric. What do you think I can do with it? So as much as you are teaching them to think by themselves, you are still they still see you as a wealth of knowledge and feel like, oh, you should have better ideas than they do. So for you to have ideas that you can dish out, you need to be someone who is inspired. So look out for things that inspire you. You need to start with making research and looking at, oh, do movies inspire me? Do nature inspire me? You need to be very intentional about getting inspired so that the ideas keep coming. It's like you charging something. When you charge it, it has the ability to dish out more because it's already fully charged. So you need to you need to get inspired, charge yourself well so that you can dish out ideas to your students. The third point here is pay attention to your students and listen. Pay attention to your students and listen. So you want to ensure there are some students who what they are saying is different from what they mean. But when you pay attention to listen to the unspoken words, there's something they say listening to the unspoken words. You can note that by their, even from the words that they said something but they didn't say something. So you can listen to them, whether it's in, or maybe they are not doing their assignment. Maybe you have a student that is not doing their assignment and the person is probably going through some serious things at home, but they keep giving excuses. They don't want to tell you what the family problems are. But in between their excuses, you can calculate and listen and feel like there's a gap here. This person seems to be going through this and this. So you are listening in between their spoken words. Sometimes it could be that they are trying to ask questions. Pay attention to your students to know. Sometimes they have knowledge limits. Now that's why they came to the fashion school. They have knowledge limits. So sometimes they want to explain some things to you, to ask you a question, and they're saying, oh, there's one part on the trouser that is like L shape, the L shape, how do we call it? And you're like, what's L shape on the trouser? What's L shape? Then because you are someone who is meant to be knowledgeable, you can say, oh, that's the crotch, you meant the crotch. So they might not have the knowledge to the point of understanding that that's the crotch, but they are able to still describe it. However, you need to listen well and pay attention to understand what they are trying to say. So I just use that as an example, but most importantly, always pay attention to your students and listen. The next point, which is the fourth point, similar to the previous point, but this one, Very, very serious. Listen to yourself. Yes. You might ask me, how is that possible for me to listen to myself when I'm speaking? But yes, right now while I'm speaking, I'm listening to myself to be sure that what is coming out of my mouth is actually what I want to say. So it happens even when you are teaching. Sometimes when you are tired and hungry, you might mean to say one thing and you are saying another thing. It happens. If it has ever happened to you, say I am here. Write it in the comment section and say I am here. It has happened to me before. Most times when I'm hungry, not all the time, but when I'm hungry and tired. So combination of those two, and I've been teaching for a while, maybe for 4 hours non-stop. I've been teaching. I'm tired. So sometimes you might realize that let's say for example, you want to say, oh, we'll come down, we are going to cut out the M line by 2 inches, and then you say we are going to cut down the neckline by 2 inches. So you meant to say M line, but what came out of your mouth is neckline. And then the student to be like, you are pointing at M line, but you are saying neckline. So you can easily say, oh, that's not what I meant, sorry. But there are times when you are not even pointing, you're just saying, and probably the knowledge of the student hasn't even gotten to what you are saying. So you are explaining something, maybe you are saying a dart is used for this and this, and you are saying something else. And at that point, probably the student don't even know what a dart is. So whatever you say to them is what sticks into their head. So even if at that point it was an error on your part, that error sticks to them as the right thing and they go on with it. So that's why it's very important for you to listen. So the moment those words come out of your mouth, if you are listening, you can easily correct yourself and say, oh, sorry, that was not what I meant to say. I meant this. It happens. They can already see that, oh, this person is tired. So you could either take a break, drink water, but even if you don't have the opportunity to do any of that, whether you are tired or not, always listen to yourself. So you are sure that what is coming out of your mouth is what you meant or what you mean to say. The next point, which is the fifth point now, is double check your terminologies. This should be emphasized. Double check your terminology. So as fashion instructors, sometimes we have grown into the point where we feel like, oh, I've always seen this term. I've always heard them use maybe atelier, silhouette. I always hear them use it. And I assume that there are times when you understand words just by the sentence in which it is used. There are some English words that I know that I didn't even check the dictionary to know what the meaning is. I just felt, oh, they used this. Is just like saying you can accentuate the body. So when I see accentuate with body, I'm trying to feel like, oh, do they mean that they should increase or they should reduce or to conform? It's going to be between all of that. But that happens also in fashion. You hear some terms, and because of the sentence in which they use it, you assume, okay, this is what it means, and you keep using it like that. Double check your terminologies means go back to check the meaning of that term. So you have a full understanding. The moment you pick a word and you don't know the meaning, you just go ahead with it because you heard it in a sentence. You know the term, but you don't know it very well. That's justice. You heard somebody saying it, so you didn't confirm and you are not 100% sure. So if you are using it, somebody can come and tell you that's not the meaning of that thing, and you shake because you really did not even understand the word from the beginning. You only saw it in a sentence. So please always double check. And also there are some words that we have heard over time that people use, and because we see that 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 people used it, we assume that it's correct. You need to go back to double check. 10 people can be wrong and 1 person can be right. Yes, I in fact, I want to say I stand to be corrected, but I am sure about this, that 10 people can be wrong and 1 person can be right. But because of our probably algorithm or the way results are being calculated, when you have more people saying something, they just assume that that's the right thing. But the truth is, 10 people can be wrong and 1 person can be right. So you want to make your research to be sure that even though 10 or 20 people are saying this thing, what is the right thing? What is the right term? What is the right terminologies? Let's move to the other point. So the 6th point is equip yourself enough to be a resource to your students. So you are like a book. As a fashion instructor, you are like a book. And there's something that is very, very similar with books. At the back of a book, you see reference. A lot of it that can help you understand the book better, that can help you understand the subject topic better. So when students meet you, you are meant to be a resource for them. So they can ask you, oh, ma, this thing you taught us in class, Where can you reference this? What kind of book can we get? Which fashion designer does this the most? In what country do they do it a lot? So fine, I'm not saying that you should know everything. You might not know everything, but you should know a bit of everything. You might not know everything, but try to know a bit of everything, so that when they ask you some questions, you can say, oh, for example, we are talking about panel skirts. You see this particular designer, she does it a lot. Now you can also refer to some of these textbooks, they do that, you find that. So you are being resourceful, you are giving them reference. You can point that you can get this here, you can get this there, you can get this there. That way it builds confidence between you and your students, because they not only see you as a teacher, they also see that, oh, this person is knowledgeable about this subject matter, this person can answer my questions. When I have any issues, I'm confident to know that even if she doesn't know it, she can direct me to somebody or a book or something that I can get my answers from. The last point I like to point out is, avoid helping a student with a classwork or assignment simply because they are not getting it. Yes, a lot of us fashion instructors do this a lot, because you feel like, oh, I've taught this student this thing, she's still not getting it, so bring your pencil, let me draft it for you. Or stand up, let me sit on the machine and sew it for you because you're not getting it. Then the next one you do it. I really would not agree that you teach like that, because you feel like you are saving time and you are saving yourself the stress of explaining again. But the truth is, once you are taking it off them every time they reach a point where they feel like, oh, they can't overcome, they would always fall back to you. So what that means is they would always depend on you. You have not taught them to be independent, because if you give them the assignment, they will bring it half done and say, please help me complete it. But the moment they know that if they bring it half done, you will still correct them and they will still be the one to go and do it, they will find a way around it. They will listen well when you are explaining. They won't. There's a way you can teach a student that even when you are explaining, when they get to a point where they are already tired, they're like, I don't need to listen again. After all, if I get to a point where I don't understand, I'll just call her, I'll bring the assignment to her the next day, she'll finish it for me. That's human nature. That's just the truth. If you are the one, you do the same thing. That's just human nature. But the moment you train them to understand that if you don't do this thing, I'm not going to do it for you. Don't be so quick. Some of us are even, it's just that our empathy is too much. You're like, this student she has been doing it. Yeah, bring this. Let me do it for you. You're not teaching them well. They would graduate and still come back. You won't see. They will give you zero peace of mind. You won't be able to sleep because they will keep calling you. Okay, I've fixed the zip. What's next? Okay, I've joined the shoulder. What's next? You don't want to train your students like that. There are times when even if I have to take it, I tell my students, if I take the pen, I say that, okay, maybe it's something that even when you are curving, you're still not getting it. It happens most times when you're trying to draw a shape. Maybe you're trying to curve the bust area or something. And I say, okay, bring the pencil. Once I curve it for you, the moment they want to take the pattern paper, I say, go and bring eraser. And I clean it. Why? Because that is my work. I did it. I did it there. So I'm going to erase it. You have seen how I did it. So now you do it yourself. There is confidence in you doing things with your hands. So the moment you do it, you can even take it out and people say, oh, who did this for you? You can say, I did it myself. Even though my tutor showed me, she drafted it for me, but she erased her own. So I did it myself. If you do it with your hands, it sticks well. It sticks better than when somebody does it for you. If somebody does it for you, you won't be able to know it. Okay, I hope with those few points of mine, I've been able to convince and not to confuse you that these tips can help you become better fashion instructors. So if you have more tips, please drop it in the comment section. If you want to add, or you feel like, oh, there are some things I said and you do not agree, it's fine. We can disagree to agree. So you can drop it in the comment section. If you would like to join our fashion instructors community, where we talk about fashion instructors, we give trainings, to help us become better, just say, I would like to join, and then I'll drop the link. I'll reply with the link so you can join. All right, see you in the next video. Bye bye.